Oh, I'm being
Yeah,
recorded.
sorry. I don't know. Now, every time I press the record, there is a message. And I don't know how to switch it off. So sorry about
Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Member Meet Member this morning. It is great to have people from Ireland, obviously Porto, Lisbon, the Algarve, and anywhere and everywhere in between to join us this morning. I'm looking forward to hearing your stories and what you do. Please don't hesitate to reach out and make contacts with people. That is what the network is all about. And after that, I think I'm just going to hand straight over to Arnold, and Arnold, let you introduce the first person, please.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And hello to everybody, and nice to have you with us today. So we have 5 members who will kick off this meeting, and then afterwards, as if I said, it's really about connecting and asking questions and talking to each other. So we'll start with Pedro from Bridging. If you have a presentation to do, you can share it directly from your screen, but if not, and we please try to keep it to 3 to 5 minutes maximum, so we can have as much connection afterwards. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
thanks, Arnold. Yeah, I don't have a presentation. I'll try to be brief, which sometimes is hard for Portuguese people. We tend to be sometimes over verbose, but I'll try to be quick nevertheless. So happy to be here. Always great to have this, although virtual, these gatherings, and obviously the opportunity to meet new people. My name is Pedro Henriques. I'm the founder CEO at Bridging. Starting briefly about myself, I'm a father of 3, 8, 5, and 1.5 years old. So it's has been some people kind of, were all alone during the pandemic. I was not. Full house, a lot of noise. So yeah, so none of those challenges. Other challenges for sure, but none of that. I've also, my background is in software engineering. So I'm kind of an engineer by trading. Definitely define myself as a builder. Also acted as a teacher for 7 years at Universidade de Lusófona, teaching software development. So I know quite well what it comes about with tech and software. Work in IT consultancies, multinationals, then started actually working on a private equity firm in the United States. So kind of, a little bit all over the world. I'm quite passionate about international business. Also a reason why I'm here in this group, obviously. More on the tech side, I'm definitely a tech optimist. I think technology should be always put in the service of people, to liberate people to do what is fun, what is challenging, but not the boring stuff that nobody wants to do. And that's actually also one of the reasons or the missions about Bridging. So the reason why I kind of founded Bridging, it came firstly foremost of working with a lot of American companies. Obviously, we focused all over the world, but I particularly, because I was, working on a private equity there, I knew and worked with quite a bit of tech companies, American tech companies. And when they looked at Europe to expand, it's quite a challenge, right? It's all the unknowns. You never know what you don't know. It's recruitment, it's legal, it's tax, it's the way of doing business, it's how to understand the market. So there's so much stuff. And then Europe as a whole, which I think it's great, but has a much stronger social security, right? So that is yet another interesting difference. So what we do at Bridging is to help companies that want to get established in Portugal. We can work really with any company, although we have been focusing, even from a marketing perspective, mostly on tech companies, because it's my own background, so it is what I know best. And the idea of technology is to try to automate a lot of that boring stuff that we need to do running businesses every month, payroll, submit tax, figure out contracts, just digitize the whole experience about what is sometimes to deal with paperwork. I'm very proud that I have like 0 paper in Bridging. Like, I don't want to be, cutting trees to print paper. No, treat things digitally, be efficient. And that's another example how technology can serve people. So it's all about that. It's all about gaining efficiency, having digitized processes. I'm a big fan of meritocracy and remove bureaucracy, just because I believe that's also one way to enable entrepreneurship, make easier for people to start their businesses, not be stuck, in the small information that is stuck on the head of, maybe some lawyer or whatever it may be. I also believe, and one thing that we've been learning as we develop the business, is that adding predictability to the processes, which sometimes is very hard in Portugal, but still going towards that, I do believe that in the long term will actually also decrease the chances for corruption. Because if the processes are transparent, are clear, there's no gray area. So that's kind of a far-fetched goal, but something that I definitely looking forward to help. So yeah, so obviously any of you that might want to have discussions, about what it is to run a company in Portugal, questions particular about to build tech teams, but also, sales teams, customer success, very happy to discuss. I'll end, I think we're getting over the time here. I'll end by quickly mentioning other things of interest for myself personally, which is, well, I do not have a lot of hobbies. Starting a business, having 3 kids, it's enough, but I still do love a lot of things regarding with tech, also coin collecting, the physical, coins, not crypto. I also like that, but the physical coins, it feels like tokens of history that we can carry with us. And then I'm also quite interested in AI. I think as a tech optimist, that will be a very interesting challenge. Also positive and possibly negative, right? So we need to do it right. Yeah, but those are kind of my areas of expertise. So look forward to talk with, well, if not everyone, at least a few of you. Feel free to reach out. Okay.
Great, thank you, Pedro. And Pedro was actually one of our guest speaker at the tech series that we did earlier. So if you want to listen to the talk, you can go on the YouTube, on the IPBN YouTube channel. You'll find it there. So now Teresa from Crushed Software.
Hi, good morning.
You are also based in Porto, so we have few people from Porto today. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Teresa.
So first of all, I need to share my screen, but before that, I need to introduce myself, of course. So my name is Teresa. I'm the business manager and talent acquisition at Craftable Software. And of course, I'm here today to present Craftable Software. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Just a minute. Okay. Can you see?
Yep.
A lot of things here, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do it.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good.
But here. So Craftable Software is a software house specialized in systems that require quality, reliability, and scalability in a highly transactional environment. So what we do is related to who we are, and we enhance the business of our partners using the most advanced technology and the most qualified team in the sector. I think it's probably similar to what Pedro does. So right now, Craftable have 2 offices, one in Porto and another one in Aveiro. We have right now 5 nearshore clients, mainly located in UK, so different point of the map, and we use more than 30 technologies and tools. Right now, we have a team of more than 35 persons, okay, with a lot of different kind of positions in the tech area, of course. So how we work? Well, first of all, we need to meet the challenge, and you can trust on me on this. Complexity bring a smile to our face, and we like to try new things, new technologies, new ways of working. After understood the challenge, we start building a team. You can start with 1 person or 2 persons and to take over all or just a part of your development, and you can scale that team as needed. Third step is get tech expertise that you need. And here we allocate the most qualified team for the project, giving them support to get it done and using the best cybersecurity practices. This is a point very, very important that I need to focus, because when we try to do in-house and when we don't have the knowledge, technology to do everything, probably we will miss this security, okay? So I think is the one of the best thing to search a partner is to give a trust or a cybersecurity qualities, okay? Last but not least, start the project, okay? So we start the project choosing at first the best solution to solve the problem, which allows to reduce some costs of failed attempts and effort, okay? And I can guarantee you that we give it all 100% of the time. So it's a small pitch. Arnold, you asked me to do just 3 minutes, so I think I'm done here. I hope you understood a little more about who we are and what we do, but of course, I'm totally available to talk with you if you have any questions.
Yeah, perfect. I think 3 minutes.
Yes,
minutes
exactly.
Great, because people want to know more. So people will reach to you to know more about your business. So
yes, of course.
Okay, so now, oh, I lost it. Okay, so now it's Anthony.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you have something to share?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Okay.
It's not working.
I think I have your presentation in case.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Have you got it?
Oh, shall I share it?
Yeah, please.
Let me see now if I have it. Loyalty audit, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. I need to do something here, I think. Yeah. Here. Okay. Just let me know when you want to change the slide.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you. So hi, I'm Anthony Robinson. I'm founder of Loyalty Audit. It's a business that I'm planning to launch in September. So this is a very early stage. Website's not ready yet. My background is in marketing and sales. I've led multinational teams across a lot of big B2C brands, MTV, Live Nation, Ticketmaster. But I guess crucially for this type of business, I ran and integrated the big loyalty programs for businesses like American Express, Starwood Hotels, O2 in Germany, and for Ireland. If you go to the next one, the reason I've launched this business is because I've been working a lot with founders in smaller SMEs for the last 5 years. And what I've discovered is that a lot of them find it really, really difficult to get their heads around focusing on the customer, their loyal customer, versus on being on the acquisition trail. And what I wanted to do in this very quick 3 minutes is really give you a heads up of what's really going on at the moment. Some of you in tech will be very aware of this, but there's a big change happening at the moment, and it's being driven by Apple. Apple is essentially positioning itself as the hero of the customer, of the consumer, their customer. And because they're a hardware and software business, they're essentially putting a line between them, Facebook and Google and Amazon to a certain extent, by saying, we're not interested in your data, we're interested in you as one of our team, you're an Apple person. And so what they've done is introduce on 14.5 in iOS, and it's bleeding now over into the laptops and the normal operating system, a way for the consumer to really control the amount of data that's being tracked, because ultimately the individual has been acquired by ad networks and advertisers for the last 10, 15 years. All your behavior is being followed, whether it be in an app or whether it be on a website. And Apple are basically putting a control on this now, so that this post-IDFA world means that people can say, no, I'm not part of that game anymore. I'm not interested. What is interesting, though, is that PwC have just done a big survey in the States and found that 43% of people don't want to share advertising data with other people, but 2/3 of that group would be very open to sharing their data if it was for a service that they truly valued. So the critical thing that I'm trying to do with clients is to get them to understand that by building a service that is truly valued, people will be prepared to share their data. So go to the next slide, please. Customer acquisition is really hard. Obviously, in the pandemic, it's been incredibly hard. And what's been strange is that the majority of businesses have been on the acquisition trail even during the pandemic, with 65% of marketeers still putting acquisition as their top priority. Whereas building a direct, transparent relationship with their customer base is actually way more important. And investing in a future of business is, based on what I've just told you about what's happening with Apple, going to be, even more important. And investing in the customers that you know about is going to be absolutely vital. Next slide. So my business is really about coaching and changing mindset within a culture. There are lots of analytical tools out there that can help with churn, identify who your loyal customers are. But when you're in the beginning stages of your business, even having 10, 15 loyal customers is going to be the secret sauce that opens up the data that you need. Why are those 10, 15 customers coming back each time? You will find, if you really understand those customers, probably the reality is of why they love your business. And a lot of businesses have done this very successfully during the pandemic. L'Oreal, Pepsi, Beaver Town in the UK have transformed their businesses this year by going direct to consumer. If you can imagine that L'Oreal and Pepsi, for the first time, now know their customers, whereas for the whole history of their brands, they've relied on third parties to sell their stuff, and they really didn't know who their true customer was. So this is the future growth of any business. It's the oxygen for future growth, and will increase the proportion of recurring revenue if you build loyalty in and give a reason for people to keep on coming back. And you can see how this impacts valuation. So on the market cap, Apple had single-digit recurring revenue 5 years ago, but now it's up to 23%. And so that's had a massive impact on their business. Obviously, I'm not talking to Apple equivalents right now, but you can always dream, right? So everyone can aim to be an Apple in the future. But early loyalty transformation is going to be the key to that. Sorry, next slide. So it's a very, very simple process. 30 minutes a day with a loyalty change agent within the business. And I will spend 30 minutes every day in the right format, whether it be in stand-ups, one-to-one, remotely, taking them through day by day, and then by month 2 setting goals and actually working on an active live project where we try and see how loyalty transformation makes an impact within a very small project. And from that learning, we then allow the loyalty agent to then start talking and hearing loyalty and that change within the business. It's a agile practitioner, which I am, mindset, and it's a way to really get great adoption around the business. So that's really the business, aiming to start in September. Next slide, I think that's it. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Anthony. Very interesting. Now, Rita and Michael from Serenity, Yeah, there you are. Okay.
Hi guys, good morning. Everybody's in good spirit and health, I hope. If not, you have a doctor. So, thank you very much for this opportunity. This is Rita. Hi, Michael. And we are the founding partners of Serenity. Serenity is as well a relatively young company that was started here in Lisbon, 5 months ago. Serenity is about healthcare, and this is what I'm going to talk to you about a bit. And I want to, do it all swiftly, and I'll just tell you a small story. Imagine you guys, part of you are expats and part of you are Portuguese, but I believe that this story will be very familiar. You got yourself a very good medical insurance. You're in good hands being an expat in Portugal or being just a Portuguese citizen. You have very good medical insurance. You have a very good medical plan. You go to your cardiologist or you go to your general surgeon, or you even go to a great hospital where you have been doing your treatment and you just got your hip replaced, just for the sake of the conversation. And everything is going pretty well because Portugal, in the sense of acute care, hospitals and clinics, has a very high standard care. And then the next thing happens. You actually step out of the door of your expert physician. You step out of the door of the hospital, and 1 second later, you are absolutely alone. Think of that for a second, because as soon as you step out of the door of the hospital, you are absolutely alone. Unfortunately, the community level service in Portugal is a bit lame. And if you have a question, if you need a physiotherapist, if you just want to understand how to take your just now prescribed pills, you have nobody to talk to. And those small things, those small obstacles of the daily living after a procedure or coping with a chronic medical condition is something that you for sure know someone that copes with that, or you've been through that on a personal ground, or you could easily relate to. We created Serenity actually to solve exactly those small issues. Serenity is about continuous care and continuous companionship of people with chronic medical conditions or with a progressed age that cope with exactly those small questions on a daily basis. We come from a background of healthcare, naturally. Rita and myself worked together in a hospital in Angola for the past 7 years and then came to Portugal. I'm a medical doctor. I'm an Israeli. I'm not from here, but I'm trying to adapt. My specialty is internal medicine, so I've been through those processes thousands of times. People just leave the hospital, leave hospitalization. We kind of treated them, made them feel better. And then as soon as they step out of the hospital, they're again completely alone. This is what we're doing. What Serenity is looking for today are two things. We're looking for a fruitful business collaboration, meaning with people that would see an opportunity here and mutual benefit in doing business with Serenity. 1, 2, after our own investment in the company, we're looking for a seed investment in order to grow the business. We are in a stage in which we actually started sales. We have a team on the grounds. We have our systems fully deployed. We started commercializing our services like a month and a half ago, and business are actually coming in, and it looks even better than the Excel business plan. But still, in order to grow, we need an investment, and we'll be very happy to share any more information to whomever might be in interest of that. I hope I didn't surpass the 3 minutes. I don't know.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. And if we can help, of course, that's the network is about that, to put you in contact with people who can help, for investment in your business.
Very well, thank you.
Okay, so now last but not least, Claudia Caramello.
Hello, good morning,
Hello.
everyone. I have something to share because I like draws. I do that for my customers. So do you have my PowerPoint to share, or may I?
Yeah, if you want, I can share. Yeah. Let me
Yeah.
find it here.
Well, I represent Vision, an accounting firm. Yes, I said accounting, the most boring activity in the world, in Portugal or but as you know, is also the business language. I started my activity plus than 20 years ago in IAPMEI, and I auditing a lot of companies, and I find that in Portugal, we don't plan, we don't do budgets, we don't do forecasts, and so as I have 2 degrees, one in accounting and one in audit, I started this company 14 years ago. In the beginning of this year, I accepted the challenge of Vision because it's a French brand, and we have an international network for accountants and brought to us a lot of innovation. Innovation for accountants and innovation for customers. If you want, you can pass the slide, please. Okay, thank you. Let me do one question. When you think to leasing, to buy a new car or applying for a community fund, and right now we are waiting for a lot of this, what is the first document that anyone asks you? A balance sheet. And who gives you the balance sheet or a P&L or a dashboard? Well, the accountant. So for me, it's very important to have real figures in your accounting and planning. And in Portugal, usually the most of accountants work in the old-fashioned with papers. We organize everything in a file. We deliver in our accountant officer. We don't like to work like this. And Vision brought to us a lot of innovation. We can have our information in our mobile phone or just click in the internet file. And also, we are certified with ISO 9001 and 27, because as Teresa said, for us, the information security is very important. Can you please? Thank you. In Vision, we do what everyone do, accounting, advisory, and payroll, because it's a match between these three kind of service. But for us, we work with a personalized service because each company is unique and each company has its own needs. So we'd like to have a personalized service. We can have 2 restaurants, but each one is different because they have different people there, and goals are different, and everything probably can be different. So we like to work with a personalized service. Yes, and finally, we don't like unpleasant surprises. It's why I like to plan the results according to the customer's goals. And we make, for example, right now, well, in July, beginning of August, we are preparing our year-end forecasts so that company can run to get its goals or slow down if it has already get them. we in Portugal, this is not usual, but we like to prepare our numbers. If you want more, you can get more, but planning, because we don't like surprises, even with tax. I don't like to send, I don't send to my customers tax today and they have to pay tomorrow. It's not nice. We like to prepare to planning. And I would like to invite you to visit our site. For now, it's all in Portuguese, I'm sorry, but will be in English, Spanish, and French soon. And you can find very interesting opinion articles and current information on taxations, funds. Right now, we don't have a lot of funds. We are waiting for that. And management tools that you can download directly from the site. I'm available to answer your questions, meet after that. Anyone you need about accounting or tax or advisory in finance advisory. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you. So that's it. That's the 5 members we had today to present. So now I'm going to open to the floor to everybody. If you have any questions or comments or anything that you want to say, I can see that there are a few new members, so you're welcome to say something. I have some questions, but if somebody wants to start, please go ahead.
Just going to ask a question for Teresa, please. Yeah, Teresa, thanks for your presentation and everybody else as well. But could you give a couple of examples of some of the kind of projects that you do? I mean, lots of transactions, but what kind of transactions are we talking about?
Hi, Brian. Are you talking about with me, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, hi. We have a lot of projects running in Craftable Software, but we are a company with 1 year. So right now we only have 5 customers, partners in the UK, and we have some kind of our partners works in the tourism, and the other part in, I don't know if you know, Ibersol is one of our biggest partners. So we have that 2 areas, I think. Is I answer your questions or not?
Well, that is helpful, but I was, when we talk about transactions, what are we talking about? Sales transactions, accounting transactions?
Oh, okay. So
what type of transactions are we talking about?
Okay, so we work with that. Imagine if you have a business and you need to make that part of transactions security, we do that. We have that knowledge, but I'm really sorry, but I'm not of the part of the tech part, so I can explain you a little more, but I'm totally available to schedule a meeting with you, and of course one of our tech expertise to explain a little more.
Oh no, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I have a question. We've seen over the last few weeks, I mean, lots of members are actually hiring at the moment, and seems that things are picking up. And I wanted to know from Pedro and Teresa, because it's in the tech sector, but if anybody can also answer that do you see that trend in your sector? What do you think about the next few months, which is happening, and the economy starting again? Do you see that really happening? And Pedro, I know you are looking at helping companies to recruit, so you can maybe say a little bit more about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So so obviously 2020 has been a different year for everyone, right? a lot of I think the biggest trend that will emerge out of it is for particular job roles, knowledge workers, namely, right, where you don't really need to be on a specific location to do the work. You're not a factory worker that needs to be on the assembly line. The work location became pretty much agnostic, right? That was definitely a trend, and I think that will be here to stay. So people will possibly in the future, my vision, the way I see it, and the way I see companies also, they might go back to the office, but it's because, at least I hope the healthy companies, they go back to the office because of a collaboration and not because they necessarily need to be there or they want to be managing their resources as they would do in the scientific management in the first half of the last century, which is clock in, clock out. I feel that makes very little sense. And I do think particularly in technology, employees are not prepared, do not want that. Now, what that causes is an interesting side effect. Obviously, those jobs, particularly again, software developers, inside sales, customer success, on tech companies most of the time, but they got very little impacted with the pandemic. Okay, what we saw was in Q2, everything kind of paused and halted to see what were coming next. But then after the summer, it was booming again. So a lot of companies are growing. I think a lot of actually these tech companies got huge increases in their businesses because of more digitization, more stuff being held online, more e-commerce, more needed platforms to avoid physical contact, and also has been a huge increase actually. The second thing with that, and focusing on the Portuguese market, is that now people, our contributors, right, can be working from Portugal to any other place in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And so that brings an interesting but challenging competition for talent, because I don't know, someone 5, 6, 7 years of experience working in local companies can now apply successfully and start working for a company in like Switzerland and the United States in San Francisco, or a company based in London or wherever it is. And I'm mentioning these places because really are places where the cost is higher for professionals, right? So easy, I don't know if anyone is familiar with that, but an entry-level software engineer in San Francisco is making $100K a year, easy. Someone with 5 years experience will be possibly close to 150 or even 200, right? Mm-hmm. Now imagine making 200K gross, obviously, in Portugal. You're, well, filthy rich, right? So that's why even if you get half of that, you're like in cloud 9, you're very happy. So what that causes is Portuguese companies competing locally, tech companies are having a hard time to retain talent on a price perspective, right? So they need to offer other stuff, obviously, culture and benefits and career growth and all of that. What this also means is salaries in this location agnostic positions are kind of converging and decoupling from the local cost of living and kind of merging into what is a cloud wage, because you never know actually where a contributor is based. He might be, Portuguese citizen living in Uruguay. Why not, right? So digital nomads and all. So you basically start paying per talent, not location. So interesting challenges, but I guess to your point, and sorry for the long-winded answer, to your point, it has been great. The market is very hot for talent, for sure. We do see continuous amount of companies coming to Portugal. Not only that, but also a lot of contributors coming to Portugal, particularly from countries that I would not imagine 2 years ago. It's crazy.
I think we see, of course, the hospitality, the tourism sector, which have been really, really hard, hit hard. But I think some of the sectors have been able to really go through this pandemic, much better.
Yeah. Now, in the hospitality sector, clearly is still impacted. Clearly, I can give you an example. I'm hiring for an ops role, and I was hoping that I could help someone from the hospitality to actually, change gears and move more on a tech career, because obviously there's a lot of need there. And for ops, taking phones, answering emails, sending, taking care of logistics is the type of skills that those people in those careers have. And what I can tell is that I receive a lot of applications.
Right.
With minimum advertisement, I'm over 100 minimum
But yeah,
advertisement.
Yeah. Last week we had an event at the Hilton Villa Moha, and few people here were Brian, you were there, and the general manager of the Hilton was saying that he's having difficulty recruiting people because people have left in that sector, and they are not there, and they need to recruit.
I can give you my opinion on that. That's not just in Portugal. That I have heard about that in other locations as well. I think it's a combination of multiple factors. One is some people might have some government incentives, obviously unemployment benefits or whatever, and sometimes they are offering them less than what they make, right? Mm-hmm. That's number one. Number two is that people understand that they are on a bad career. Honestly, right? Working in hospitality in the Algarve, you work what, 4 months, 6 months a year, a crisis come and you don't have food on the table, maybe you should go work in a different vertical, right? Yeah. Portugal in particularly, and this is a small criticism to the government, has bet too much on tourism. Yes, we have, well, beautiful beaches, good sun and all, but the country needs to be more than sand and sun, right? So it has bet, even in terms of calls for startups and all. There's so much startups doing things in tourism in Portugal that, well, actually never grow to a decent size. But yes, I do feel a lot of people have decided to actually possibly not pursue careers in the field because they got kind of burned because of it.
Okay. And actually, Claudia, I was wondering in terms of grants, because during this pandemic, small and medium-sized companies were receiving some support from the government. How did it go for you during this year? And at the moment, are there still some grants available for small and medium-sized companies?
Well, right now we don't have nothing. Well, we have innovation, but it's not a call, and this will finish 30 of this month, but it's nothing real right now, and we are with a lot of customers and companies ask for what coming. We don't know right now what is coming. Only what you know, it's the general mindset. We have a document with 346 pages with the general rules, but the real calls we don't have right now. We think it's coming calls for digitalization because, as Pedro said, it's a lot of sales by internet, and the companies need help for that to make their investments. Sustainability, but nothing real. We hope this grant arrived in the middle of July. I think I will not have vacations this year for that, but excellent. We like to help the companies, but real calls, we don't have information right now. We are waiting. I tell you, this week I had 7 meetings about that. The company says, I would like to do this, this, and this. Okay, we take the notes, and when the calls arrived, we give the information.
Absolutely. Okay, sorry, I'll continue. Or does anybody who wants to say something?
Just to add to that, one of the things I've observed over the last 6 months is that there's lots of schemes both in Ireland and Portugal, trying to help businesses through COVID and etc. All good stuff, yeah. But one of the things that I'm getting feedback from my customers, and this is only anecdotal, is that particularly when it comes to bank loans and things like that, the process is slowed right down. I know people who've been waiting 7-8 months, waiting for a response on bank loans. And why is this happening? Because even though governments are guaranteeing these things, and it's the same internationally, it's not just Ireland and Portugal, the banks know these loans, a lot of them are going to go bad. Yeah. And that's going to affect their liquidity ratios and stuff like this. And they know that even though the governments guarantee these things, it could take a year or two before they get paid back by the government, and they have to fund this gap. Yeah. And you're seeing this in the mortgage market. You're seeing that anywhere where people can borrow, the banks want to throw money at AAA borrowers, and they're retrenching from almost everybody else. But they're not saying no, they're just slowing everything down. Yeah. And this seems to be a very common, across Europe at the moment in the people I talk to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And yeah, Michael, I think you spoke a little bit about it, but it'd be interesting to hear a little bit more about the gap that you saw in the Portuguese market for you to launch Serenity here in Portugal. If you can say maybe a few more words about it.
Sure. It's a very simple thing, actually, at the end of the day. I mentioned in my short pitch that when you look at the Portuguese system of hospitals and the highly specialized clinic, be it, by the way, public or private, you can find very well-trained doctors. You can find very good equipment. You can find very good technical skills. You can be operator. Everything is going great. And yet the layer of primary care, and I'm talking about primary care on the community level, your family practitioner, your community nurse, the small services that all of us from time to time need, they are practically overwhelmed or do not exist. And if you look at our own, if we, all of us, just look at our own lives or the lives of our beloved ones, how much do you really spend in a hospital? I mean, through your lifespan, through your time of meeting doctors, we go to the hospital once in a lifetime, hopefully, not more than that.
Yeah.
Very small minority of people would need hospital more than once in a lifetime if they really get with a serious disease. And hence, 97% of the time, 99% of the time, what you really need is the community care. And again, this is exactly the gap. What you need the most is most lacking in Portugal. And when we thought of Serenity, the idea wasn't to create a parallel solution, wasn't to create a parallel system to support this community care, but rather to focus on the people and help them with this everyday need of somebody to talk to, somebody to ask a simple question. Yeah, from time to time, I really need a nurse to come and help me even at my house. But the vast majority of the time, I just need somebody to listen to me and to give me good advice. When looking into the market, we saw that the Portuguese community of consumers or potential consumers of our services actually is immense. It's like around 4 million people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if all of them, but a lot of them are spending time on social media. And when you ask a question on social media, specifically when it's about your health or some advice, whatever, you get like answers from 50 people representing 150 ideas, and then go figure, whom do I follow? So instead of that, you just have one entity to ask the question and to get the correct answer. That was the idea behind Serenity.
Okay,
great.
Yeah, no, excellent. And Anthony, it's quite amazing that people are still don't pay so much attention to the existing customers. I think that's the retention of your customer must be the number one in your business.
Yeah, and going to Michael's point, if a lot of the potential customers are spending time on social media, if you're an Apple user in the next 3 or 4 months and you start being forced to update your software, it's going to be very difficult for Serenity to find those people, the like-for-like systems, the like-for-like tools that everyone has taken for granted for 15 years, 20 years of being able to mimic audiences, find them in other parts, using email. I mean, 38% of all emails now go through a Mac client, 38%. And that has basically now been blocked. If you use Mac Mail is now there as the tool to stop a pixel basically dropping. So that's automatic. And so you won't have any pixels on your mail anymore. Mail lists, newsletters, whatever, are going to be incredibly difficult to acquire new customers. However, if you've got your own customers already, you're basically sitting on an absolute mountain of amazing stuff.
Yeah.
You can identify the customers that you've been talking with all the time and really trying to engage with them in a much richer way. But the ones that are lapsed, you really have to start thinking of how do we get back with those people and using that data, because finding new data is going to be much more expensive. But to Michael's point, I think that where that data shows some really encouraging feedback from the States is that people are really willing to share data if they know they're going to get a great result. I mean, Amazon essentially is one massive data pool, but it makes the experience so easy because it tells you and almost predicts what you're going to want to buy next, right? Because it's so brilliant at using the data that you've had. And in terms of healthcare, where Serenity is, anyone that really wants to understand how to improve their life is going to really benefit from sharing their data and being able to share cross user bases, and the more strategic partnerships that Serenity build, the richer their experience is going to be. So it's businesses like that where the value is so clear that where data will be unlocked. I think that's going to be, one of the key learnings of the next 5 years, because there is a paradigm shift. I was on a panel last night with some of the big leaders in gaming, who have been relying on advertising and really been working in a bubble of being able to put advertising in almost every 5 seconds of gameplay. And we're talking billions and billions of dollars. And they're realizing that now they've really got to make sure that people come back, and have got to build in more loyalty structures so that people are rewarded for being players rather than being bombarded with advertising, because that's going to go. So all these sectors are going to be impacted massively. It's a paradigm shift. And what Apple are doing is brave. They're essentially saying we're the hero of the user, we're the hero of customers, and we're not in the advertising game. It'll be interesting to see what plays out from it.
Not easy to put a loyalty program in place.
No, not easy. A loyalty program is really hard and really difficult, and takes a lot of effort. But having a loyalty culture is very different, which is why I'm not there to help companies build loyalty programs. I'm there for them to do this paradigm shift from being obsessed with acquisition and spending lots of money on acquiring new customers to really focusing on the customers that they're right in front of them, but they just haven't spent any time looking at really.
That speaks a lot to me, because I was working for the Financial Times, and it was all about keeping the readers and working with the readers rather than trying to get new readers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent. Very good. Okay. I mean, we tend to keep this to an hour. I know everybody is busy, but if anybody else want to add something, Sharon, put you on the spot now. No.
Good morning. Is that because I always ask good questions?
Yeah.
Now I have to come up with
You've been very quiet today, Sharon.
Sorry.
You don't have to say anything. It's fine.
Actually, what Anthony has been talking about, I think, is really, really interesting, because I think for years, as a consumer, you have never felt valued. When you're, for example, Sky, I think is a classic example, where your friends who have become new customers get a better deal than you as an existing customer. And I think that's really interesting that companies are now beginning to realize that how they view their customers is just going from almost like, mono use, just one-time experience, and assuming that they'll stay with you. Instead, shifting that perspective into, we want to be your all, the be all, and as we grow, so too will the offerings that we can give you. And I think that's a really interesting, it'll certainly have a huge impact on customer service, because I think that organizations lose valuable customers because how their people view the customer needs to change. So that's an interesting perspective. So I assume, Anthony, that that's part of the paradigm shift, is helping customers to understand or helping companies understand that you need to not just change how you view your customer, but your people also need to be part of that.
100%. I think what the one conclusion I've taken from the last 5 years, when founders, particularly ones that aren't understanding of tech, but just think, there's an easy way to acquire and spend lots of money, build a product, spend lots of money, find the people, then you're off to the races. What they've forgotten is that the successful businesses of the 19th and 20th century, the great ones, really started and formed a culture based on how they treated their customers. The man in this little village shop, right? The butcher, whatever. If there were two butchers, the one that was more successful, you can bet your bottom dollar, wasn't just about price. It was how they welcomed the person, how they greeted them, whether they stayed open a little bit later to accommodate. All that kind of stuff made such a massive business, such a difference to each individual business. And digital businesses have forgotten that those skills in analog really need to be acquired now, because digital isn't going to be just about numbers and chasing people and bombarding them to the point where they submit. It's going to be about nurturing those relationships with direct consumers, who essentially are the ultimate fans of their brand, and to really encourage that fan base to be the greatest ambassadors for their business. Because a small kernel of fans, and this comes from my background in music and live entertainment, we learn from what artists do and learn the relationship between an artist and a fan will continue for decades if you deal with it in the right way, and you have an open, honest dialogue with them. But you also give them stuff. You give them stuff that's available to everybody, but you also give specific stuff that's very limited to other people who are willing to pay. And then the demand elasticity changes massively, and you get people that are willing to pay whatever to be part of it. Right? That's what you have, these different tiers, and by building these different tiers, you have things to aspire to. It's a weird dynamic, but it's the culture that's got to change within businesses to understand how people behave.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome.
So yeah, if nobody else wants to say something.
Can I just say that my name's Adrian, by the way, everybody. Nice to meet you. I'm from the Portugal News, and if any of you need help with your businesses, or any way that we can help market your businesses or do articles for you, then please get in contact with me. I'm sure Arnold will be sharing the information, the contact information, because we really would like to help all of you guys get yourselves out there. So yeah, that's what I've got to say, really.
Thanks.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I will definitely share we're all members here, so I would normally I don't share, but I will share the email address of everybody here who is on this panel, so you can contact each other. So I just want to thank all our guest speakers and everybody on the meeting today. So it was great. We have existing and loyal members, but also new members, which is great. Just wanted to say, so the next event is going to be a little bit different from what we normally do. So we are going to have a virtual art gallery, which will be with members of the Crafters of Ireland, who are members of the IPBN. So we'll have 5 artists, painters, photographers who will exhibit and that's on July the 8th. So I think it's on the website already. You can already register there. And then we are preparing a program for after the summer. We'll have our being member like today, of course. We'll have some masterclass with some of our coach members, and we are looking about preparing a Blue Economy Conference, the World Maritime Day on September the 30th. But all that will be announced in the coming weeks. And of course, I'm here to help you all. So if you need an introduction, individual introduction, if you have any questions, just come to me. We also do a weekly members roundup now. So every Friday we share news from our members, which basically it's me looking at what you put on LinkedIn. But if you have, more information, more requests, or anything you want to share with the network, please come to me and we'll publish it. Okay. So it was a pleasure, and have a good day and weekend. Yes, we are Friday. So, and talk to you very soon. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.